Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The start of a new school year always brings changes, and that's certainly true this year as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to force schools to make changes and modifications from elementary and high schools all the way up to our colleges and universities. The University of Vermont is set to start its new year, and as it does so, UVM also welcomes a new dean to the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. The college is housed in the historic Morrill Hall on the UVM campus. Programs for students include nutrition and food science, human and animal health, and sustainable and resilient communities, among many other options. To learn more, we've invited the new dean to be with us. Dr. Leslie Parise joins us via Zoom. Congratulations on your new job and welcome to Vermont and across the fence.
Well, thank you, Fran. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, so you're coming from the University of Vermont from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So share with us a little bit of your background and what roles and responsibilities there brought you to where you are today.
Certainly. I'm originally from the Chicago area and received my undergraduate and graduate education in Illinois in the life sciences. Spent a few years in San Francisco for postdoctoral research, doing cardiovascular disease research, and then spent the bulk of my academic career thus far at UNC Chapel Hill, where I started as an assistant professor in the Department of Pharmacology in the School of Medicine, rose through the ranks, became vice chair of that department, decided I wanted to be a chair, almost left the university, but then was offered the position of chair of biochemistry and biophysics there. It was a great time. I spent 13 years in that position. One of the most exciting points was when one of our faculty members won the Nobel Prize in 2015. But part of my responsibility was to hire and mentor faculty, make sure we had a strong research program, as well as a strong graduate education program, and we had a program for undergraduates as well. I also oversaw the budget, which was especially important in the 2008 and 2009 budget turndown, and I ran my own research lab.
Right, you have your own, the Parise lab, very major cancer research, fabulous. So 32 years at UNC, why make this major shift, and what beckoned you to UVM?
Well, so many things. I found that in my role as chair at UNC, that I was working more and more across the university and with other entities in the area to make things happen. And I really decided that I wanted to lead at a higher level. And so when I interviewed at UVM, there were just so many things that attracted me. First of all, knowing that CALS and Extension has this awesome TV program called Across the Fence. But I was also very engaged by the new president, Suresh Gaganella, and Provost Patty Prelock. They have a lot of energy and vision. The deans were a very warm and welcoming group. And I was just taken by the high energy and commitment of the faculty and staff in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, or CALS as we call it, and UVM Extension. They're so passionate about what they do. I met with groups of students who told me how they loved CALS. And then the mission, ranging from everything from food systems and nutrition to water quality and more. I just thought, wow, I want to be a part of this.
Terrific. I think it is a difficult but a really exciting time to come. And so what do you see as a major role or roles of a college dean? Is it fundraising, faculty productivity, student achievement, all of the above?
Well, it's all of the above and then some. So I believe that UVM as a state university owes a lot to the citizens of Vermont to bring new opportunities. But on a more day-to-day level, some of my roles are to strategize with my new faculty and staff colleagues for the future. As you know, higher education and research are not static, and that's especially apparent during this pandemic. So we've always got to be planning for the future. I also have specific goals to grow the research program within CALS and Extension, increase the size of the graduate program, because graduate students really help run research operations, and it provides an excellent educational opportunity for students to learn critical thinking skills. I want to engage with the business community and make sure that the college and Extension has a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. So I'm coming from an institution that had a very strong infrastructure for entrepreneurism such that a young freshman to an aging professor and anyone in between with a good idea could help get that idea out into the marketplace, whether it was by licensing their invention or starting a company. And that can really help drive the local economy by creating new jobs. And so I want to make sure the same opportunities exist at UVM.
Fantastic, very exciting, the whole entrepreneurial piece. So quick impressions of your new home, the university. We've heard a little bit about what you think about the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, but anything you want to add, that entrepreneurial spirit here or something else?
Well, I've got to say that the position is more exciting than I ever thought it could be, and my new colleagues are more wonderful than I could have imagined. And moving to Vermont has been terrific. So, of course, it was a little bit of a challenge moving during a pandemic. So we were supposed to fly here in early March to look for houses, but had to cancel the trip because of all the travel things out at the time. So my husband had never been to the state of Vermont at all until the final move. But everybody was, and I mean everybody, friends and colleagues in Chapel Hill and relatives in California, friends in Boston, were all telling us how beautiful the state of Vermont was. And even with that buildup, being here now and seeing the beauty of the state, it's far surpassed our expectations. So we're loving being in Vermont. Okay. And then, of course, my colleagues in CALS and Extension are every bit as wonderful as they were on the interview visit. And so I'm just delighted to be here.
Terrific. But of course, everything changed this past March, as it did for you moving here with the coronavirus. What do you see as the biggest challenge for the college?
Well, of course, the biggest challenge right now is to keep people safe. And I'm very confident with the plan that UVM has for returning students. And I've got to say, it's one of the best, if not the best plan in the country, because UVM is requiring students to get pre-tested for the virus, and they must test negative before they enter campus. And you'd be surprised at the number of colleges across the country who are reopening that are not doing that. And for that, I credit the president and the strong leadership at UVM. But in addition to that, of course, there are challenges with the delivery of the educational material because a number of the classrooms are not large enough to accommodate a full load of students with the social distancing. So some students will be in class, some will be outside the class, and professors have to provide delivery in multiple modes. But we're working through that, and the faculty are really stepping up, so I'm quite confident there.
Okay. Well, leaving the college campus for a moment, what are your impressions about Vermont agriculture, which is something that you certainly will be looking at more and more deeply as you move forward?
So on a personal level, I've got to say, I've just been delighted with the opportunity to go directly to farms and buy fresh produce and eggs and dairy products and occasional meat. I mean, we love to go to farmers markets back in Chapel Hill, but we didn't go directly to the farm. So I am really enjoying that. I've also been very impressed with what CALS and Extension have been doing to help farmers, whether it's with introducing better business practices or testing and implementing new strategies. And of course, this whole COVID epidemic has laid bare the issues with our food systems. But I think because of the strong farm to plate tradition in Vermont and the fact that it's a small state, it provides a sandbox for experimentation to roll out to the rest of the country of better food systems practices. I've also been well aware of the artificially low dairy prices that stresses dairy farmers. And as much as we can be a solution for that, I want us to be. But the agriculture and the agricultural traditions in Vermont are a gem, and they must be nurtured and protected.
So what does belonging, being a land-grant college, which I think is very important also to President Garamella, it seems, what does that mean to you?
So as many of your viewers may know, it was Justin Morrill, a Vermonter who was a representative and then a senator who pushed through the Morrill Act, signed in 1862 by Abraham Lincoln. And that was also called the Land Grant College Act. And that was a real game changer for higher education because it brought state universities across the country with this land grant mission of not just keeping the ideas in the ivory tower, but to really help the citizens of the state. And that was, the original focus was on agriculture and mechanical engineering, but it's expanded since then. And that idea was further expanded in 1914 with the Smith-Lever Act, which added extension programs onto these land-grant institutions. And of course, extension programs really have outreach. So that mission is every bit as important today as it was back in 1862.
Terrific. And you know, Chuck Ross just stepped down as the director of UVM Extension, and so you are adding that as an interim title. You are also in charge of UVM Extension, from which this show comes. What do you see as the future of UVM Extension and how that fits into what you're working on?
Well, I think the future of UVM Extension is bright. So I got to overlap with Chuck for about 6 weeks, really enjoyed the interactions and came to appreciate all that he's done for Extension. So we will be searching for a new director. But you had mentioned that the president is very keen on Extension. And in my role of stepping in, I've gotten to learn so much more of all the amazing things that Extension is doing and is so important for the state. I mean, they're doing everything from running the 4-H programs to helping migrant farm workers, integrating conservation practices into businesses, helping with agriculture. It's just, there's so much. So it's just very important and very valued.
So you have a lot on your plate, and you've also offered for people to get in touch with you. So if you have a question or comment for Dr. Parise, she would appreciate hearing from you. You can email her at the address on your screen, calsdean@uvm.edu. Let's try that again, calsdean@uvm.edu. And you can learn more about the college by checking on the website. Dean Leslie Parise, thank you so much, and best to you in your role as the new Dean of the UVM College of Agriculture and Life Sciences.
Well, thank you, Fran.
It's been delightful. Thank you. And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.